Hello and welcome back to Software Testing Studio. Today we are going to talk about a very powerful test automation framework that is called Playwright. So what is Playwright? Playwright is an open source browser automation framework for creating end-to-end testing. It supports Edge, Chromium-based browsers, Firefox and WebKit-based browsers such as Safari. What is the goal of Playwright? The goal is to provide a single API to developers and testers to automate their web applications across today's three major browser engines, Chromium, Firefox, and WebKit. One of the key features of Playwright is it uses what we call the waiting for elements. Because the interaction with the web applications is asynchronous, it automatically adds the wait. It allows it to wait for an element to be visible on the page. So, um, so, so Playwright does this automatically for you behind the scenes, as you can see in this code, this snippet of code that I've got here on the page. It does support multiple languages such as Python, Java, .NET C#. It also has what we call the browser context. These are isolated environments built on a single browser interface instance. They make it possible to create concurrent tests that are entirely separate from each other and execute in parallel to browser context. Browser context also enable you to emulate scenarios where you are changing device viewport, permissions or geolocations across multiple pages. One of the key features of Playwright is also running tests in parallel. When you're automating a web application, you're using a browser instance. You can launch these browser instances, you can close these browser instances. It introduces this concept which is central to the execution model. So one single browser instance can be used to create multiple concurrent isolated browser contexts. It also supports authentication of test cases. It allows you to emulate the context of authentication credentials. So for instance, many applications use browser cookies to define authentication state. Using two different browser contexts on the same browser instance where you have two different authentication credentials. All applications have a sense of permission and user roles. So you could log in as an administrator in one context and log in as a dummy user in the other context and essentially run your test in parallel across these two different authentication credentials. It also supports recording. So it uses test recorder, which enables fast recording of user um, and eliminates all these mundane, repetitive tasks of writing tests. It accelerates test creation to keep pace with shrinking release cycles and help build the test coverage to ensure the quality of the software. So to sum up, Playwright is a powerful framework that supports better design for test automation. It is created specifically to accommodate the needs of the end-to-end testings. It does everything you would expect from the regular test runner and more. Playwright Test allows you to run tests across all the browsers, execute tests in parallel, enjoy context isolation out of the box, capture videos, screenshots and other artifacts on failure, and integrate your page object model as extensible fixtures. I hope you enjoyed this session, and as I mentioned earlier, this is just a brief overview of this tool. I will be creating more tutorials on Playwright to show you how to set it up and with some good practical examples in due course. So thank you again for watching this session and we'll see you in the next session.